And we are live. Hello, everyone. Hello, Unsung Tears. How are you? Welcome, welcome. We're going to give you a few minutes. We are right on time, so we're going to wait, and hopefully people will be joining us shortly. And welcome to Happy Hour, Unsung Tears Happy Hour. And I'm just going to wait for people to kind of join us, Howard, before we get started. If not, let's talk. But hopefully, I should have started at 7:05, gave them time to come looking for us. But welcome, everyone. Please say yes to StreamYard. If you're joining us, you have to let our platform StreamYard so we can see your name. Otherwise, we will not be able to see who's watching us. So our platform we're using this evening for our live chat is StreamYard, and they will ask you for permission. I need you to say yes, and then we can see your name if you are commenting. Please let us know your people. People are popping in. Leave us post a comment so we know who's here. And make sure you say yes or we won't have your name. I want to know your name. And Howard wants to know who's joining us tonight.
Yes.
Thank you. Welcome, Howard. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me. We've been talking about doing this for a while now. So
we have. And we did one a long time ago. It's been some years.
Yeah.
That's before we could go live. You remember you had to type everything. So and that was fun.
Yeah.
So somebody is saying yes, but you didn't say yes to StreamYard, so I'm not sure of who's leaving the comment. So make sure when they ask for permission, you say yes, so we know who's with us, okay? So people are showing up. Hello, Denise and Melinda from Michigan are with us. Hello there.
What's up, Denise and Melinda from Michigan?
We're just gonna wait a few minutes, everybody. If you are joining us, please say yes to StreamYard so we can see your name, or at least, no, you have to say yes before you come in. It's going to pop up before you come to the chat. So make sure you say yes. They will show your name. If you missed it, it's okay. If you're going to comment, just give us your name so we know who's here. We'll go from there. Hi, everybody. I see people telling me yes. I have no idea who it is. Give me your name when you're saying hi to us, so we know who's joining us, if you don't mind. And Howard, just thank you so much. I'm so excited you're with us. I have, of course, seen you and talked to you several times throughout the years in person at shows, but we haven't done this in a while. So it's been a long time coming.
Long time.
And a perfect time, I might say.
I know. Got nothing else to do.
Right. Perfect time.
Yeah.
I'm popping over here to the page to see what I can see over here. So if you are joining us, give us your name, leave us a comment, let us know you are here. Oh, I snuck over here to the actual page, Howard, and I'm seeing a lot of, okay, we got Denise is here, Hibbert, Tiffany. Hi, Tiffany. Tina is here. And they're coming in, so
okay.
We're gonna go ahead and, we love the song Better Guy. I didn't even ask
Better Guy. Yeah. Yeah. I love that song too. That's the song Stephen Russell from Troop. He and I wrote that, and he produced it. It was amazing. We had a great time doing the video. Also, we did the video. Had Michael Jai White and his wife on there, and Steve was in it, and we had a good time. It was fun. We shot it down in my old stomping grounds down in Crenshaw District at this place called Maverick Slap, and it was fun. It was a fun project to write as well as do the video for it.
Okay, very good. Hi, Eric. I see Detroit is in the house. We got a Melinda. You probably see some of the comments.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead. Valentina Watson is from Detroit.
Valentina, what's up?
I'm trying to. Robin Cashwell Barksdale. Thanks for joining us. Okay. Thank you, Robin. You said yes, and I could actually see your name on StreamYard. Thank you. All right, Howard, let's go ahead and just start talking a little bit. People are coming in, and we want, hey, Dave, hi, how you doing? Make sure we can get as much in as we can because we could probably talk a long time, but I don't want to hold you too long. So let's start from the beginning. Some people may not know your story, but just tell us where you're from and how you got started. The short version, Howard.
I know. Well, I was born and raised in Akron, Ohio, and
Ohio in the house. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm from Ohio too, in case anybody didn't know that. Go ahead.
but you know, I started out singing. I've been singing since I was 10 years old, and my mom was a professional gospel promoter. She would bring shows into the Akron, Cleveland, Canton area, and when I was about 10 years old, she put me and my three sisters together, and my mom formed the Hewett Singers. And so we would, you know, of course, once we were able to perform, nepotism was alive and well in our family, of course, and we opened up every show that she brought in, and then in the summertime we would go on the road when we have summer vacation from school. We would go out on the road, do the gospel chitlin circuit up and down the East Coast, Midwest, and up through that side of Canada, and then, you know, I did that until I was about 14, and then I went into the R&B situation. At first, I started because I learned how to play bass when I was 12 years old, and the first group that I was with after when I came from the gospel side, I played bass. It was a group called Soul Corporation, but I couldn't sing and play at the same time. I could never figure that one out. Right?
Okay.
That's why I look at cats like Sting and Larry Graham and all those guys. I'm like, man, how do they do that? So I had to figure out, you know, which one I wanted to do. So I put the bass down, and I started started singing, and then eventually put together a group with some partners of mine there in Ohio, Marvin Burke, Byron Williams, and Ricky Fletcher, two or three other guys. And we formed this group called Life. We spelled it Lyfe, right? And so, like, you know, I did that until I was about 19, actually. And at 20 years old, then I just left. I left Akron, went straight to Los Angeles, came straight out here.
Okay.
And touched down LAX. I had about $34 in my pocket.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I had no wife, no kids, no responsibilities, no nothing. It was just me, and my cousin picked me up at the airport, and it was me and him for a while, and you know, then kicked around. And after I was out here for about a month and a half, I helped put this group together. It was a show group, and we did top 40 stuff, everything from Disco Inferno to Mandy, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so, like, you know, it was with this cat, John Daniels. He owned this club down in the Crenshaw district called Mavericks Flat. And they were also a booking agency. And for about a year, you know, long story short, we hired and fired people, and finally got in shape enough to tour. And their booking agency, all their bookings were overseas. So I found myself overseas for about at first 9-10 months, and then came home for about a month, and then went back over for about 4 or 5 months, you know. And so, you know, so a little more than a year I stayed over there, and then got back here. We broke up. The group broke up when we were before we left London, right? And so, like, you know, the name of the group was called Beverly Hills. It's like this really show group, top 40 show group. And so got back here. We broke up, like I said, when we were in London. We got back here, kicked it around for about 6 months, started working with this guy this producer over in Motown, and we started working on this project. He was producing this thing on this cat named Eddie Hazel. He used to play guitar for Parliament Funkadelic. And we were working on that for about 2 months, 3 months. And then I got the offer to join Shalimar.
Yes.
I got the offer on Friday. I went over to Dick Griffey's, the owner of Solar Records. I went over to his house Saturday morning and sat down and let me get this off there. Sat down and I got the offer to join the group on Friday. Saturday, I went over to his house, sat down and watched a videotape of a Shalimar show. And then afterwards, he said, "Well, sing something. You know, Jeffrey and Jody say you're a great singer. Sing." I said, "Just sing something, acapella." He said, "Yeah." So I broke into "Feel the Fire" by Peabo Bryson, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so then, you know, I said, "Lord, me and you," right? And I broke into that, got through the first verse, half the hook, and then went to. Then he said, "Okay, I'll be right back." And he goes upstairs. Comes back down. It goes in one pocket. He has he brings out some cash, and he says, "Here's some cash. Leave with your old lady, Rob. You know, pay some bills." And then he goes in the other pocket and brings out an airline ticket. You know, that was back in the day when I could ride on your ticket, you could ride on my ticket. And so you know, that was back before, you know, pre 9/11, where you have to have names and all that kind of stuff. And so, like, you know, he said he gave me an airline ticket. He said you have to take the red eye out tonight and meet the group in New Jersey tomorrow, which was Sunday morning. And he said you got to learn the lip sync and the choreography to take that to the bank. He said, because Monday you got a TV show to do.
Oh.
So that's exactly how it went down. Got the offer Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I was you know, rehearsing with Jeffrey and Jody in Newark, New Jersey, and then Monday we did this the local dance TV show. Yeah, and they were in the middle of a promotional tour at that time, so we started right out on the road. I just continued the promotional tour with them.
So they were in the middle of a promotional tour. Did they have a different lead singer at first?
They had this guy. His name was Gerald Brown. He was out of Cincinnati, Ohio, actually, and I guess they kind of got into a little argument or whatever, and Gerald left them in the middle of that promotion.
Oh, okay.
With no lead singer. So he said, "Well, when y'all see it my way, when you and Dick see it my way, then give me a call." You know, but Jeffrey, he still won't tell me how because I was at the Motown building when Jeffrey called, right? And I was having a meeting at the Motown building. And I'm in the middle of the meeting. The people, the producer at Motown, we never signed contracts or anything, but you know, we were working on the project for about a couple of months.
Oh.
But you know, so we like I said, I was in the middle of this meeting, and the phone rings, and the guy answers the phone, and he looks at me. He says, "Well, it's for you," you know. And I said, "Well, if I said if it's a lady, you know, because she was the only one that knew where I was." And I said, "If it's my lady, tell her I'll call her back." And he says, "No, it's not a lady, it's a guy, and it sounds like it's long distance." So I get on the phone.
Wow.
And it's Jeffrey Daniel. So
they hunted you down. Somebody hunted you down, Howard.
Well, yeah, no, it was, you know, because my lady at the time, we eventually got married, and mother of my 2 older daughters. She worked for Don Cornelius at the Soul Train Dance Studios.
Oh, okay.
He worked for him, so he called her to find out where I was. And she told him that I was at the Motown building for a meeting. I don't know how he got right in that office, but hey,
That's
praise
an interesting story.
Yeah.
And on behalf of all the Shalimar fans and Howard Hewett fans around the world, we are so glad you chose to sing. Do you still play the bass?
Hmm?
Do you still play the bass?
I play at it. I don't know.
Okay.
You know, I don't really. I don't call myself a bass player. Definitely.
Okay. Well, we're happy you chose the other.
I know. I'm glad I didn't choose the other either, because I'd be in the situation sometimes. Sometimes musicians can be in strange situations sometimes.
Oh, yes, that's a nice way of putting it. So for all of our Unsungeteers who have joined us, hey Keith, I saw you. Please comment, questions, leave your questions, and Howard will answer them. We're looking for you all to ask all your questions and comments. So we want to interact with you. Keith Cobbins is on here. He's a good friend of mine from home. And we were talking the other day, and he reminded me, well, he told me a story about you, and you may not remember off the top of your head.
Can you tell a story about me?
Kind of, sort of, where he worked with you on something. I think it was, and Keith, help me out, the Miss Black America or Black California pageant.
Mm-hmm.
This is Black California. Tell me if I have it right, Keith. And you all worked together, and you sang, and he wrote a song that you learned and sang at that pageant. I think it was the first one in California. And it's been quite some time.
Long time ago.
Black California USA. There it is. He just posted it for me.
What was it?
Miss Black California USA.
Okay, yeah, that was a long time ago. Boy.
Yeah, he said it was some years ago. Keith, do you remember what year it was, Keith? Or how? I know it was some time ago, but he was telling me it was a pleasure working with you, and there was a song he wrote, because Keith is a songwriter. Used to work with Babyface and all those good people. So we got it right. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. We were talking about you. It was all good.
Good.
So those that are Toledo, Ohio in the house, Amber Hawkins is saying that. Please list, I want you all to post your favorite Howard Hewett song. Somebody's going to win something tonight. So just throughout this time we're with Howard, post your favorite song by Howard. It could be Shalimar or Howard, whichever. And we're going to take a look at those. And we're going to talk about that. Somebody is asking what you're doing during the lockdown. I guess we can go ahead and get into that right now. What have you been doing, Howard? You have a new hairstyle, I noticed.
A lot of people commenting on that. But during the lockdown, I mean, the stay safe at home situation, as they call it, just really taking time to reflect and get into myself. I've been doing these what I call the shut-in mini concert series, and they're on my Facebook fan page. And I've done them Fridays and a couple on Sunday. I did one special one Easter Sunday, and this past Sunday I did another one. And they're basically just 25-30 minutes, and gives me a chance to spend time with the friends and the fans, and everybody comes on. I'll use my tracks. I'll do some different songs, and just have a good time. Only about 25-30 minutes. I'll talk and but been getting into that. And when you talk about the hair, it's like it's funny because about 3 weeks, I guess about 2 weeks ago, I'm in the mirror, and I'm cutting my hair, growing down over my ears, and I had the clippers, and I'm cutting the hair off from around my ears. And I looked and I said, man, I don't know when I'm going to be able to get back to my barber, because my barber is like right outside of LAX, Los Angeles airport.
Oh, okay.
Shut down anyway. He's not there anyway. So the hair was already looking crazy at that time. And I said, by the time I get to that, it's gonna be, so I just like zipped it off, and I hadn't buzzed my head since I was like 18 years old. So
okay. Wow.
So I was scared to see what was underneath, but it's all right. I got, nice shaped head. I'm cool, so, and I like it. I like, it's a different kind of look. It's a, definitely low maintenance. So I love that, so.
Well, yeah. Low maintenance.
And plus, I wear hats most of the time anyway. I don't. The only reason I don't have a hat on right now because I'm home. I don't really wear hats in the house.
Well, you have a question about that. Someone just posted. Can you tell us how your hat collection idea began?
How what now?
Your hat collection idea began.
Well, because people would always tell me. They say, where'd you get this hat from? Where'd you get that hat from? And I always wanted to do a hat collection, but I talked to Cedric and I talked to a couple other people that were doing it, and they said, well, it's a difficult thing because manufacturing and then designing and all that kind of stuff. And so like I said, well, why don't I skip that for right now and just do a deal with an existing hat company? And just do, take a few of their hats, 2 or 3 of their hats to start out with, and like, just design the name and the logo and all that kind of stuff. And so I found a great hat company called Mike the Hatter out of Cleveland, actually. So his hometown is, Cleveland's about 28 miles from Akron.
That's right.
So we did a deal and put them out. It's doing well. There, we still gotta, since this whole thing went down, things kind of slowed down everywhere.
Right.
But
can people purchase them online, or how can they?
They can go online. You can go on go on the Howard Hewett fan page, and has
on
all
Facebook. On Facebook.
On Facebook, yeah, the Facebook fan page, and it has all the information as far as like how to order the hats and great hats. I mean, it's and then later on I'll get into the specific design of this thing, but I wanted to get my feet wet first and see how this whole works.
Question from Michelle Somerville. Hey, Michelle. What current day artist would you like to collaborate with, or have you collaborated with? Who would you like to?
There's a lot of good stuff. Like people complain sometimes saying that there's stuff, there's nothing great out there. There's no good music out there anymore. But there's a lot of good music out there. There's one cat that I really dig that's doing some stuff now is a male artist, is Anderson .Paak. Anderson .Paak is doing some great stuff. I love what he's doing, and Ro James. Ro James is a good artist also that's doing stuff out there now. It's hard to think about collaborating a situation right now. I've collaborated with a lot of people, but it's almost like through the years with me, it's almost like pulling teeth, because I'm not really, I love the studio, you know what I mean? But I love getting in the studio, doing my work and getting out and playing and performing, what I've done in the studio. Because, studio, when you do a record, it's like, you get in there, you write a song, you figure out what you want to say. Plus, I'm not a fast food writer. I'm not I admire those cats, man, like Face and LA, Babyface and LA Reid and Jimmy and Terry and all those cats that, you know, I remember both of those writing teams when they first came to LA, and their whole thing was like, okay, from this time to this time, we're gonna write. You know, we're gonna write from 9 to 5. We're gonna write every day, every day, every day. And I'm just not that disciplined, or I don't know.
That's all right.
But also it's like I have to. Like I said, I'm not a fast food writer. I have to feel, you know, I have to feel what I write.
Right.
That's when I, you know, when you come up with when I've come up with songs like "Show Me" and "Once, Twice, Three Times," "For the Lover in You,"
Yes.
you know, and we can go on down the line. As far, those were songs that, you know, it was like I was feeling something. I was feeling that there was something that was in my head that I wanted to get out. I remember writing this song when my ex-wife and I were going through our stuff, our spiral down, and I was, you know, I was scared to, you know, because I write about what I'm feeling.
Right.
And at the time, I was scared to see what would come out, so I wasn't really writing anything. And she said, "Well, you're a writer. You got to write something, right?" So like I had this one hook going around in my head. It says, "Was I there enough? Did we share enough? Were the times when we made love and then chilled in the tub enough? Is it fair enough to say that in the end, it really wasn't real enough? Did we feel enough? Is our commitment to honesty enough to say that enough is enough?" Right? That hook floated around in my head for almost a year and a half, 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And I just what I was waiting for was the right music to inspire me and to really, you know, really, and the music came from Mickey Howard's son, this cat Brandon Howard,
Oh, yeah.
who, you know, I've known Brandon since he was like 5 years old, running around when Mickey would bring the kids to a show. When we do a show, he's bringing kids to sound check. They're running around snotty nose and stuff, and so like you know, but Brandon has developed into a great writer, great producer, and so he brought me this track. And when I heard the track, I said,
"That's it.
That's it." And then the verses of the song just flowed, and it's enough. It's called Enough. I recorded it on the If Only album. Actually, George Duke, that was the last thing that George Duke and I worked on. George produced it, and so I'm not like a fast food artist. So, you know, I have to write when I feel something.
Okay. And we can appreciate that because it comes from the heart. Now, I want to make sure I get as many questions in addition to us talking. So there was a question from Keith that says, out of all the other Ohio bands, which ones had the biggest influence on you?
Ohio bands?
Ohio bands.
Ohio bands. Well, the one band that had the most influence on me as I was coming up, you probably never even heard of them, you know, because they were a band called Revelation Funk. These boys were so bad, it was ridiculous. And Revelation Funk had a keyboard player that played keyboards and only sang background because he didn't consider himself a lead singer. Mm-hmm. And his name was James Ingram, right? So and they were so bad. They had this guy, the guy that did sing lead with them, was this cat named Bernard Lawson. And to this day, when James was alive, we would always say, man, Bernard Lawson to this day could sing me and him under this desk over here, because he was so bad. I mean, amazing vocalist. You're talking about going from, people talk about me going up into my register, all that. Just do effortlessly, boom, up, and just all over the places. He's amazing, great. He's great vocalist even to this day.
Wonderful. Any other bands? I know that sounds like that was the main one, but are there any other ones?
Well, that was the main one for me because I was so at that time, because I met James. I met them when I was James and when I was 15,
Okay.
and so like it was that foundation
Yeah.
situation. But I mean, you had of course Eddie and Walter, them the OJs.
Yes.
I used to see them, at this place called the Baby Grand in Canton, Ohio,
Yes.
and back in the day and everything. And I mean, the back in the day, I think those are the two most influential.
That's great.
As far as for me.
So there's another question, which I'm gonna let you answer this, because do you still keep in touch with Shalimar? People haven't heard much about Shalimar. You want to?
Well, Jeffrey and I do, we still work overseas.
Right.
Shalimar,
A lot.
a whole lot. And we do festivals and everything over there, but we go there. We have a girl, Carolyn Griffey, that works with her. We don't really work with Jody. Jody's doing her thing, and we let her do her thing, and so but we work with Carolyn, and Carolyn is amazing. A lot of people, they'll say, so Carolyn is doing the Jody Watley parts. Now Carolyn has taken her whole situation and made it into Carolyn Griffey. She does Carolyn Griffey, and because Jeffrey and I started doing it a long time ago. When we first got the first offer to go over we got an offer to go over to Japan and do about 4 or 5 shows over there. I mean, this is years ago. And I mean, the first person we called, of course, was Jody, and said, Jody, you want to come over to Japan and let's do, go and have some fun, do the old music, make some money, and, have some fun and stuff. And she said, well, she was doing her thing and she didn't want to really get into the whole thing, and that which I didn't really understand. But everybody's experience is not your experience. Your experience is not everybody else's experience, in other words, and you can't expect somebody else to feel the same way you do about something.
Right.
Shalimar, I will always feel Shalimar is part of my legacy. I mean, that's my legacy. That's Howard Hewett legacy.
Yes, it is.
Howard Hewett is doing his thing now. My in my history is Shalimar, and I can't deny that, and I can't, I can't sidestep that. I can't.
We don't want you to.
Yeah, don't. I never want to, and because I would, that I've never done a show where a Howard Hewett show where I don't, give homage to, Shalimar, because that was the beginning of my recording career, and a very important part of my career. So, but like I said, people have different ways of thinking about things, and you have to respect it. So, but then once Jeffrey and I, we went over to Japan and just did it just me and him, with the band.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And then we did Africa a couple of times, just me and him, and did a couple of gigs. These they just have these big shows over that toured throughout England. And we did a couple of those. And then we wanted to bring that female entity back into the fold, and we didn't even hold auditions. I think the only other person that we looked at when we were considering it actually was Saida Garrett. Actually, we talked to her about it, but then Carolyn she would sing background for me sometimes.
Okay.
And the thing about Carolyn Griffey was that she knew the history. Shalimar, her dad was Dick Griffey, who
Right.
owned Solar Records. And so, like, she knew the group. Shalimar was one of her favorite groups, be it out of Lakeside, Whispers, all that stuff. Shalimar was one of her favorite groups. So she knew the history. So that was, we talked to Saida briefly, but then we started talking about Carolyn, and we said, we love you, Saida, all that. But Carolyn, and I love Carolyn's voice. Carolyn's voice, she has this soulful, smoky, soulful voice. And plus, she just fit perfectly with us. So
and she does. I've seen clips, and I haven't seen you all live, but I've seen different clips, and she really does. I really, actually, I would love to get her on here at some point and talk to her, and she can tell her story. That'd be great. I want to get to a couple more questions and talk about a couple more things before we run out of time, Howard. Larry Dotson II is on here. Hey, Larry. He says, my dad has given stories about accidents and falls on stage. For those of you that don't, his dad is Larry Dotson, former lead singer of the Bar-Kays.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever fallen off stage or had a funny accident on stage, Howard?
You know what? That had always been my claim to fame. As long as I've been doing this, on stage from the time I was 10 years old to, never falling on stage. Definitely never fell off stage. Never.
Well, I'm so glad.
Because, but last summer, I think it was in England, in front of 45,000 people. We're doing this thing, and where we go to the edge of the stage, and the whole thing, and the people are jamming. And I went to step back and forgot that a monitor was behind me.
Uh-oh.
And it just happened like in slow motion. Boom, bam, fell. But kept singing. Jumped up.
You fell? Did you say you fell?
I fell, right.
Oh, I thought there were no accidents. Okay.
No, I fell. But like I said, that's the only time.
Oh, that was enough in front of 45,000 people, Howard. So
45,000 people. And I saw comments later on. People made comments on the Shalimar Friends page. But you kept on singing. You kept singing, and that was.
No, did you? I know you didn't. I know you didn't miss a note at all. I got to read this comment to you. I knew who it was without even the name. It says, wow, two of my most favorite folks on this planet. Hi, cutie. He's talking about me. Looking at my brother.
I hope so.
Corona ain't got nothing on y'all. That is, speaking of Ohio bands, that's from Gregory Williams.
Greg Williams.
Yes.
From Switch.
Yes. And so we're going to have Switch on here one of these weeks, too. It's a lot of good stuff coming. People are asking, Keith and someone else also asks, when can we look forward to hearing some new material from you?
Well, I'm always working on stuff, and in fact, I cleared out actually this past January. I cleared January out because I had to get an operation on my foot, a little minor operation on my foot. So I wanted to have a month of recuperation. So I cleared all the gigs out. And in the middle of that whole thing, it was while I was recuperating, my son, who is an amazing musician. If I was just half the musician my son is, I'd be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? And
okay.
But he came. He lives in Nashville now, but he came here. He had to come to this thing called NAMM that they have every year for recording, different recording equipment that they're rolling out and all that kind of stuff. So he had to come to NAMM, and when he finished that, he came here for about 4 or 5 days, and he set everything up here in the office and ran the cables down to the bedroom, and he had written about 3 or 4 songs that he wanted me to do vocals on. Stuff turned out amazing, and we'll probably deal with that. And when I get ready to release some stuff, but I don't know when the next releases are going to be, because you can release stuff there, at any time. You can get Better Guy. There's also a tune called "You Are the One," the letter U, letter R, the one. And it's a single that I did with Leon Silvers, our old Shalimar producer. And so you can go on iTunes and Amazon.com and all that stuff and get that also. So that's available now. It's almost like it was way, way, way back in the day. You just release stuff. You just do, release stuff when you find something that you love, you
Right.
put it out there.
And along with that, the other question, of course, is upcoming tour dates. Let's move into your upcoming tour dates and how this whole thing has affected you and tour dates and everything that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because I was supposed to go over to England on March 3rd, and when we started getting to the end of February, I told my manager, I said, man, I started seeing all this stuff on TV and about, and I said, man, I'm not really feeling real comfortable about this whole thing. And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, the only definite thing I see and hear in these people's voices and in their faces is the uncertainty about what's going on. And I said, they said that the incubation period is 7 to 14 days. I'm supposed to jump on a plane, take a 10.5-hour flight to England, get there 4th, 5th, do the show on the 6th, do a show on the 7th, jump back on a 10.5-hour flight, coming back home on the 8th. And I said, that's within a 7-day period. And I said, I could potentially be back here spreading this thing, whatever it is, around for almost 10 days without even knowing anything. And he said, well, what do you want me to do? I said, well, I'd like for you to start talking to these people about rescheduling those 2 dates further down into the year when we have a better idea of what's going on. And my manager was like, he said, well, they hadn't pulled any dates. He said, nobody else is pulling any dates or rescheduling any dates right now. He said, I might have a problem. And it was so funny because my mom passed in 92, right? 92. And I could hear my mom's voice so clear in my head. When I was a kid, she used to say, so if one of your friends go jump off a bridge, you gonna go jump off a bridge with them? Like that. And I started laughing, and I told my manager, and I said, look, I'm not doing this based on what anybody else is doing. I'm doing this based on my responsibility to the people that I love and the people around me.
Right.
I don't think it would be very responsible of me to do that. And so, of course, 4 or 5 days after that, that's when stuff hit, and everybody started rescheduling. So a lot of dates got rescheduled, and it's basically down in August, September time. There's a date in Bethesda, Maryland, at the Bethesda Jazz Club, Blues and Jazz Club there. I forget the date. You can go on and find it. And also a couple of city winery dates, one in August in Atlanta and a couple other different places. I think that, the smaller theaters are going to come back sooner. And, when they can figure out a way to make people comfortable about going into these little small theaters and stuff, and or clubs and all that, then, I believe that they will come back sooner, way sooner than the big,
arenas and
stadiums and stuff. But, this is a time that you can take to really, this is the longest I've ever stayed home. you know.
Right, and let's get into that. We were talking about that earlier, and
Yeah.
talk
I mean,
about, because we're getting close on our time. But with the quarantine, how you're handling it. Have you learned anything? Any suggestions or advice, or just share anything with the unsung tears? Because I know you always speak from your heart, and you were sharing some things. I really would love for you to share some of that with everyone. I think they need to hear it, and then tie that into my favorite song, "Say Amen." We'll talk about.
yeah. I believe that this is a time when we all have to really, if you take this time to sit back, it's almost like God put us on timeout. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He said,
Mhm.
time out, go to your rooms and think about what you're doing. Think about what's happening. Because when people talk about I'm ready for it to get back to normal, I mean, was normal so great as far as besides certain things? I mean, this country, especially this country, this is all I can really deal on because this is where I am. And this country, we were on a path of hatred, path of divisiveness, a path of racism.
Mhm.
And like, so do you want to get back to that normal? Is that the normal you're talking about? You want to get back to? For me, I've, you know, I've taken this time. I've had to have this time to like kind of reflect, get into myself, and things don't just stop happening
Right.
because they said we gotta stay in. So then I've been going through some personal things,
Mhm.
and then about a week, just a week and a day ago, my best friend, this cat, I've known this cat since I was 20 years old, and we've been friends since I was 20 years old.
Mm.
But this is the cat. I mean, he was my brother just as much as my brother is my brother, and he passed away a week ago yesterday, and it's like it wasn't from the virus. It wasn't from coronavirus. He had some other health problems that were going on, but it was sudden. It was within a month. You know, the complications built up, and you know, and it took him out. Praise God. He and I used to always talk about when we leave here, I want to leave in my sleep. I want to go to sleep, and praise God, that's what he did. He took him in his sleep.
Yeah.
And
So sorry.
and that was my boy. That was my boy, that was my boy. I'll hang out. I don't know who I'm gonna hang out with because I don't hang out when I hang out here. But one of the things that I thought about though, and that I started thinking about is every single thing that's happened to me through the years. My dad passed in '81. My mom passed in '92. uh, uh, Divorces, split ups, this
Mhm.
and that. I always had my work. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I've spent some of the saddest times in my life I've spent on stage. You
Mhm.
know,
Yes.
and so like I started thinking about that, and then the Lord started talking to me. He's saying, they said, no, said it wasn't your work that got you through. He said, "It's me. I got you through this."
Mm.
You
Mm.
know, and I see that now because I don't
Wow.
have my. I don't.
Right.
I can't go out on the road and get on stage and entertain y'all, and like all because and for that 55 or hour and a half or 2 hours, it's like soothes me through. And God said, "Don't get it twisted, son.
Mm.
Your portion. I'm
Yeah.
what you need to get through this whole thing.
That
You
is
know,
powerful. Yeah.
I blessed you with the work, so don't think it was the work that was getting you through. He said it was me that was getting you through. And when and I would imagine it would be that way for a lot of people when we get so caught up in our day-to-day stuff, your
Mhm.
9 to 5 or your career or your whatever you're doing, school or whatever. He took all that away. All that's gone.
Yeah, that is powerful.
You have to sit here and understand, what's happening. And like he says, be still and know that I am God.
You better preach, Howard.
He is God. He is God. Do I believe he brought this thing on? No, I don't believe that. But everything works towards the good for those who love the Lord and are called to his purpose. And so like we have to find our own ways of turning this to his glory. And how we come out of this, how you come out of your house once this is lifted up, it's going to depend on how close you allowed yourself to get to God. So I mean, I just it's like I just thank God that he has allowed me to do the things and have the career and still have the people who love what I do and everybody but it's a thing where you got to understand this is about God. This is around and this is about loving each other and it's about loving and figuring out all this stuff and when you come out you'll come out with a better understanding.
Oh, that is wonderful. I think you just dropped the mic on that. That's a great way to end our chat. We're almost toward the end, and I thank you for that. And I forgot to tell everyone, I told everyone bring your favorite beverage, whether it's sparkling water, wine, champagne, whatever it might be, because it is a happy hour, and we are happy to have you, Howard. I thank you so much. I want to read a couple of, everybody's having church now. Let the worshipers say amen. That's what the doors of the church are open. These are the comments. I needed to make sure I mentioned that Uncle Greg, as I affectionately call Gregory Williams, he sent his condolences to you because he knew Roland as well. So he left a comment.
Everybody here knew Roland. Roland was a local promoter that did all kind of events, and everybody loved Roland. Everybody was hurt and shocked and
so we send on behalf of the Unsung Tears, we give you our condolences for you losing your best friend. I'm so sorry, and as you shared that with us, what you just said, I think a lot of people needed to hear that, and more people will hear it, not just the ones that are here this evening with us on the chat. We'll share it. You can go share it on your page as well, if you like this conversation. I think I wanted to do something more than just music because we're all shut down. So, and I'm going to ask people or artists to give words of encouragement to the Unsung Tears, the people that are shut in, people that have lost loved ones during this whole thing. And you did just that without me even saying it. So thank you, Howard. It just came from my heart, which is even better. And on that note, I keep talking about my favorite song. We don't have to share how it came to be unless you want to, but I wanted first, before we close, before you do what I asked you to do for me, people know where they can hear you. Howard is singing on his Facebook page every Friday or most Fridays, or at least once a week, right? You go ahead and share that.
The fan page, Facebook
fan page. Right. Okay. Right. So he's going live, giving you mini concerts every week.
Yeah, called the Shut In Mini Concert Series.
There you go. Shut In Mini Concert Series with Howard Hewett on his fan page. So guys, that's right. Want to hear him sing, which I know you do. You can go over there. You post when it's going to be, right?
Yeah, we'll post
so it's weekly as of now.
It's either Friday or Sunday,
Okay. Yeah. So Friday or Sunday, you can join Howard and hear that wonderful voice of his.
Thank you
so much, my friend. I appreciate you for stopping in and hanging out with us. We'll do it again soon. And I'm close to you. And what better way? I asked Howard to sing something, my favorite song. And somebody's going to win something, by the way, guys. I'm going to let you know on the Fans of Unsung page who is won a special gift from Howard. Yeah. And I'll just post it. We'll do it that way because we have a way we're going to do it. He's going to pick a number and I'm going to figure out who's going to win. So somebody has won a CD from Howard. He's going to send it to you straight from his house to yours. And I toast you, Howard. Thank you for joining us. And I give you, everyone do a virtual toast with us. Cheers. Thank you, Howard. And on that note, that note, what better way to end this particular live chat, this happy hour, than to end with just a little bit of say amen.
Acapella.
However you want to do it works for us, Howard.
I can't like we said, I can't run the tracks and everything because this is taking up
Our platform messed up the tracks, guys, but we can do acapella. It's just a teaser. You can go Friday or Saturday to hear everything.
I'll just do a piece of it for everybody out there that's shut in, that's like here, and just like I said before, be still, be quiet, know that He is God. And with that, it's time to say goodbye for now. We'll have our second time around, but before we go, there's something I've got to say. Everything's not what it seems. There's a stronger force behind the scenes. He's in our lives every day. He's right there when we call. In Him is where my strength lies. I lift my eyes beyond the skies. Only He can save my life, and only He can hear my cry. I want to thank you, God, for giving me one more chance to raise my voice and to sing your praise. I sing it out loud. I sing it all day. This song is my prayer I give to only you. I know it can't compare to the gift from you. He gave us His love. He gave us His Son. Say amen. God bless you.
Amen. Thank you, Howard. God bless you. I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Unsung. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.